Actually, Winston Churchill said the best thing ever about oil painting, which is hilarious that it would be him and nobody else, like no actual like famous painter. He said, when I get to heaven, I'm going to spend the first 1,000 years getting to the bottom of oil painting. And I was like, that is exactly how long it would take. I used to see sometimes at school people taking art classes, and I thought it looked so stupid. Like, I thought it was ridiculous. And I would see them like making little pots, and I have nothing against ceramics or whatever, but I mean, like, I hated it. I thought it was so boring. And I remember seeing one time an exhibition of student work. I thought, I could do so much better than that. I was looking at the drawings, and I thought, this is like so cheap. Like, I could make such a better drawing. And as I was walking away, I was wondering to myself, why did I even think that? I've never drawn in my life. My last show, this old lady comes up to me and she goes, so you print them out and then you paint over it? And I said, no, I mean, I print it like on paper and then like as a reference. And she goes, okay, so the ones with where I can see the computer dots. Are you sure it's a painting? Are you really sure it's a painting? And I'm like, well, I was there the whole time it was being painted, so I'm pretty sure. It wasn't until much later, until I was like 22 or 23 years old, I still had done nothing with fine art. I wasn't drawing, I wasn't painting, I never took a lesson, because it's not like a brag, like I've never taken a lesson. It's more just like so peculiar that I wasn't interested in art. When people come to galleries now, they're always saying like, wow, you must have been a brilliant child. And I was like, no, I was like playing with crayons and dumping chocolate milk, you know, like stuff that kids do. It wasn't like special or anything. And I remember the first time I was inspired to start painting or drawing or something, actually it was a weird moment with an encyclopedia when I was looking through, looking for the word electrolysis, and I accidentally found etching. I had been so good at drafting, and I was doing CAD and AutoCAD back in those days. And when I saw this etching, it looked like a drafting drawing that had just been like shaken, and all the geometrical shapes were moved around, and it was suddenly turned into a piece of fine art. It didn't make sense anymore, but it was beautiful. And that was the eureka moment. I still remember it so clearly. I was like I couldn't believe what had never occurred to me before. I wanted to try to draw. I knew I could do painting for a living in the most sort of backwards way, like circuitous way of getting to that answer was I knew that I had to. That was all. Like, I was forced to figure it out somehow because I wasn't going to do anything else. And I don't even know why I was so stubborn about it. Once it occurred to me I was going to paint, I just knew I was going to paint. I think from one painting to the next, the experience of making it or the feelings that you had at the time, whatever you're going through, a particular artist might remember that. But that's not going to show. I think what accidentally shows through is a longer arc of someone's personality or life. The weird thing is, it almost looks like a solitary observation of the world. Like a person wandering through the dystopian version of the world and taking photographs or something. Like the old motel signs, they're isolated and they're alone against the big sky. And like they're solitary. And it started to occur to me they look like kind of like me, like I'm alone 12 hours a day just painting. But that's the story of every artist almost, I think. Sometimes I need to be focused and I need to be alone, but then sometimes I'm alone for too long. And then I wish somebody would just interrupt my thought process because I get stuck in a rut. Okay, there's that bug is back. F is up with the bug. Like I have an idea, I'm so dedicated to the idea, but somewhere deep down in my gut, I know it's a bad idea. Whereas like when I had a full-time assistant, she would just tell me, yeah, this painting sucks. It just don't do it. It's not the best. Yeah, it's funny how tennis, like, it's not necessarily always such a creative thing, but it's in a practical way, it helps me with creativity by forcing me to stop necessarily thinking about the technical aspects of painting and problem solving, and I start problem solving doing something else. Madison, I think it was Madison, he said, the best break from work is other work. And so, like when I play tennis now, I'm trying to learn proper technique and form and try to do everything the proper way. And then I realize the reason why I love this so much is because that's what I do all day when I'm painting, is trying to do something properly and correctly. So now one at a time, outside of painting, I'm trying to learn how to actually do things the right way. Unfortunately, today, it's really funny. Being a starving artist is no longer romantic. Like, it used to be hot to be a starving artist, to be like full of ideas, sort of despondent, living a life of despair, kicking rocks because you have no money, walking around in tattered clothes. But people would say he or she is brilliant. And nowadays it's like, no, they'd rather just get an endorsement deal and be like kind of brilliant but also rich. Like, can you take me out somewhere nice? Like, no, Van Gogh never took anybody out nice. And everybody freaking loves him, but he's been dead for hundreds of years, so. A lot of painting ideas come out of this room, from this desk, like just from, I don't even make notes. I just look at the imagery, and then eventually some kind of connection happens, and I think, like, I know what it's gonna be now. Actually, the piece I'm doing right now on the easel in the studio occurred to me when I was looking at the Rothko paintings because of the bands of tone. There was a young tennis player, American tennis player named Coco. I think she was 17 years old. Well, Coco beat Serena on the court, like outright. And so she was being interviewed on court right after the match ended. And she says, when I was growing up, I had a poster of Serena Williams on the wall in my bedroom. And then she laughed and said, I guess now I have to get a poster of myself. Like this moment of congruence where, like, I felt like I was levitating. Oh my God, like, I don't even know if she knows what she just said. You have to get a poster of yourself on the wall. So this is what I tell artists or anyone who's struggling, doubt like that. You got to get a poster of yourself. Stop putting up posters of other people. I still read art books all the time. I love to see people's work, but people used to ask me, who are your favorite artists? And I would have an answer. Now, I was having dinner with a gallery owner, and I said, fuck every artist. I don't admire anybody anymore. The page is now clean, and at the top it says Geoffrey Gersten. That's it. There was a tennis coach who told me, basically, you're overthinking everything. And I was like, what do you mean? I'm trying to do everything right, the correct way. So I'm asking questions, and he told me, in 1890, he said back then people just had a racket in their hand and they just swung and hit the ball. There wasn't like this whole like serve mechanics, form, proper setup. They were just smacking the ball and they figured out how to hit it across the court. And he said sometimes that's all you have to do is just hit it. Like stop overthinking everything about your foot placement and your shoulder and the height and your setup and everything. Like at some point you do have to feel it. And so maybe painting is like that. Like I don't really, quote, know how to paint, but at the same time I paint all day long. So I don't know, what is knowing how to paint? What does that even look like?
Will you still love me when I'm not young and beautiful? Will you still love me when I'm not young and beautiful?